Good evening and welcome to Will's webinar. I am delighted to have our guest on who is currently sat in South Africa this evening, which is Mr. John Demartini. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, John.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's an absolute honour. It truly is. I'm been a huge fan for a long time. Obviously, we had the pleasure of meeting, or I certainly had the pleasure of meeting you a couple of months ago, and we're really excited to have you over in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it, and it's a great meeting when we chatted. Thank you for everything you're doing.
My pleasure. So I wanted to be able to get people who maybe don't understand too much about what it is that you are, I guess, most known for. I mean, the thing that certainly had the biggest impact on me that I've learned from you so far is values, and talking specifically how living your values can increase your wealth and your well-being. So first of all, I guess for people that aren't maybe familiar with values, a lot of people, when they think of values, they think of honesty, integrity, trust, being worthy in that respect. What are values?
Every individual lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. And this is a unique hierarchy of values that each person has. No two people have the same set. And whatever's highest on a person's values, they are spontaneously inspired from within to pursue. And whatever's lowest on their values or lower on their values progressively requires ever greater degrees of motivation to get them to act on. So whenever you're taking actions that are aligned and congruent with your highest values, you have the highest probability of spontaneous action, the highest probability of walking your talk and expanding your game and achieving what it is you set out to do. Now, I have a very high value on teaching and learning, as is pretty obvious, and I have a very low value on cooking and driving. I haven't cooked since I was 24, and I haven't driven since almost 29 years. So I fill my day with high priority actions of speaking and teaching and researching and learning and traveling, not the other. And if I do, then I can rely on myself, I can walk my talk, I can live congruently, and I can wake up the natural born leader that is innate with all of us when I live congruently according to what I value most. Now, we have social subordinations, and we sometimes live in the shadows of other people and compare ourselves to other people. And anytime we are too humble to admit what we see in them inside us, and we minimize ourselves, we can infiltrate their values into our life and confuse the clarity of what our own are. And then what happens is we try to live by their values, and then they're not really our highest values, and we end up depreciating ourselves, wondering why we can't stay focused, self-depreciating, in other words, and we scatter ourselves, trying to be what we're not. And so when it comes to economics, the hierarchy of your values dictates your financial destiny. So if you have a high value on buying consumables that depreciate in value and a low value in buying assets that appreciate in value, no matter what you do, you're not going to get ahead financially. Because what's going to happen is the second you get money, you spend your money according to the hierarchy of your values. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. What matters is how you manage what you make, and the hierarchy of your values dictates how you manage it. So if you have a higher value on Jimmy Choo shoes than you do on buying stocks in high quality companies that are going up in value, or real estate investments that have rental properties, unless you're buying something of very high asset producing systems that appreciate in value over time, you're going to keep buying things that with immediate gratification and consumables that depreciate, and then you're going to work your whole life for money instead of having money work for you. So the hierarchy of your values dictates your financial destiny. And if you don't have a high value on wealth building, it's going to be hell trying to build wealth, because money circulates through the economy from those who value it least to those who value it most. And if you don't value it greater than somebody else, it goes into their hands, not yours. It stays with them, not you. So that's why the hierarchy of values has a major impact on financial destinies. When I speak to people, what I want to do when I get there is I want to inform people about these values, help them determine what their values are, find out where wealth is on their value system, and then let them see why they're getting the results they do, and then show them how to shift their values So they increase the probability of having wealth, because once you have something high on your values, you see opportunities, you make decisions quickly, and you act on them. And then you perpetuate the goals and the actions that it takes to build wealth. But you have to value it more than other things. When I was 27 years old, I was good at making money, and I could save some money, and I would buy things. It wasn't until I turned 28 when I realized if I just keep buying things all my life, I'll be working my whole life for money and never have any assets accumulate, never have a passive investment income, and I could never get to financial independence that way. And I realized the longer I waited, the more difficult it would be. So I had a shift in my values. I put a higher value on actually building assets. And then once I did, I started seeing opportunities, taking advantage of the opportunities, and I started accumulating wealth. And I became financially independent from age 27 to 28 actually to 37. And I got into motion. And I watched things change because my values changed. So the hierarchy of your values dictates your financial destiny. So there's an inseparability between people that are extremely wealthy. I've interviewed many, many billionaires. I've met many, many people that are centimillionaires and decamillionaires. And I've seen people that are impoverished in townships. And I assure you, the hierarchy of their values is dictating why they end up where they are financially. So that's an important thing that I can't wait to bring there and explain and show people how to transform their financial destiny. Because I am absolutely certain it can change your destiny if you get this information financially.
And you said there's a people. I've got an echo or something. So for people that are sitting there right now and they're thinking, okay, well, I've not got the wealth that I would like. You said that for you at 28 there was a shift. So it's something that doesn't just happen. This is something you can consciously do to shift your values to enable you to increase your wealth, right?
Well, it can shift without a conscious effort by events. A bankruptcy can make you say, you know what, I'm not doing this again. A marriage can do it, or a divorce can do it. There's lots of things that can shift your values, but it's the shift of values that make it happen. But there's events that shift your values. You can do it and wait for events to shift it, or you can be conscious of it and shift it because of your own consciousness. That's a way smarter approach. But I can tell you that the people that have a value on wealth building end up with it. And the people that don't. I have a friend in Sydney, Australia, that is zeroed in on it. I mean, he is focused on building wealth. And in 2 years, he went from almost nothing to 50 million. 2 years, 3 years almost. And because his focus was intensely focused, and only in your highest value do you have intense focus. You're in your lowest values, you procrastinate and frustrate and hesitate on things. But in your highest value, you're disciplined, reliable, and focused. And you see opportunities and you take advantage of them. And that's why I want people to get that. I want to share that because I know that a person gets that information and I show them how to shift their values and give them the steps to do it and the rationale to do it. And they start working on it. It changes their financial destiny. I can have 5,000, 10,000 people in front of me and ask how many want to be financially independent. Everybody will put their hand up. And I'll say, how many of you are? And 99.9% will put their hands down. I had 5,000 people that had their hands up saying they want to be financially independent, and only 7 had financial independence in the room. So most people have a fantasy about what they want, and then they beat themselves up wondering why they're not getting it. I don't want people to beat themselves up when they don't have to. I want them to know the difference between a fantasy and a real goal, and how congruency between goals and values are the key. That's why I want to talk about values there. I know it makes a difference. I've taught it around the world to governments, to corporations, to individuals, wealthy people, poor people, and I've seen the impact it's had.
And you then wrote a book I don't even regard it as a book, actually. I call this a toolkit. I refer to it as a toolkit for people to be able to, well, it's just phenomenal. So if you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend you get it. I was gifted enough for John to actually sign it for me when we met back in May. So that's something that is a toolkit that you've got. So the things that are happening for people, what might be some of the things that people will be experiencing if they're not living to their highest values, and particularly if wealth and making money isn't high on their values? What's other than not having money? What would be some of the experiences? How will people know if they're not living to their highest values right now?
Well, when somebody's congruent, they have certainty, they have clarity. Whenever you set a goal that is congruent and aligned with your highest values, the blood glucose conduction goes into the executive center of the brain, which is a medial prefrontal cortex, the forebrain. And it awakens inspired vision, strategic planning, executing plans, and self-governance. You have certainty, you're very present, you're very focused, You're very disciplined, not because of any effort. It's just because you're doing something you're absolutely inspired to do. When you can't wait to get up in the morning and do what's really inspiring to you, magic occurs. People around you, people, places, things, ideas, and events come into your life to help you manifest what's your innermost dominant thought. So that's the secret behind the secret that was left out of The Secret in the movie years ago. But what's interesting is, if you set a goal that's not aligned with that, because you get distracted to what is valuable, you keep procrastinating, hesitating, frustrating. You lose momentum. You drain your energy. You don't want to get up and do it. So that's why most people live quiet lives of desperation unless they get congruent. And they will block their leader, which is a natural expression of an authentic person inside. When they live congruently, they wake up their leader in whatever the field is. And they can't wait to get up in the morning. One of the signs is you can't wait to get up in the morning and do what you love to do. You have more boundless energy than most people. I mean, I've been speaking since 8 o'clock this morning. I don't think I've had any lack of energy right now. But, I've been going all day in my program on cosmology here. So there's certainty that there's energy there.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt, but to put that into perspective for the people that are watching this, if you're watching this right now, I was literally with one of John's assistants. We had the webinar up and running. He was still delivering. I could hear him delivering content, and there was like 4 minutes to go. He was like, "Can I just do one more page? Can I do one more page? I want to finish this page, and then we'll do one more." So that gives you an idea of how he's literally come from being on stage to literally being here with us right now. So that John is Dr. Demartini is definitely a man that's living his values for sure.
Sunday was 46 years ago since I discovered what my highest value is and what I wanted to do. And I've been doing it for 46 years. And I'm just, this is what I love. I love researching, writing, traveling, and teaching. And I don't love cooking, so I let go of that when I was 24. Anything that is low on your values, that's what I'm going to teach people. That's why I want to come there, and I can't wait for this program, because there's that when I share with people the power to relinquish things and not do desperate things. If you're not filling your day with high priority actions that inspire you, your day is going to fill up with low priority distractions that don't. One is going to build your self-worth and achievements, and they're going to build momentum and energy, and one is going to destroy it. It's up to you. Your life is based on your priorities. If you don't prioritize your life, everybody else is going to impose theirs onto you. That's why it's so important to take command of your life and master plan your life out how you want it. If you don't decide, you're giving power to everybody else. Any area of your life you don't empower in, people are going to overpower you. And if you don't empower yourself intellectually, you're going to be told what to think. You don't empower yourself in business, you're going to be told what to do. You don't empower yourself financially, you'll be told what you're worth. You don't empower yourself socially, you'll be told the propaganda that's not true. If you don't empower yourself physically, you're going to be told what organs to be removed and what drugs to take. If you don't empower yourself spiritually, you'll be taught some dogma that's irrational. You have to be able to give yourself permission to shine and do something amazing and be authentic to yourself and follow what's really priority to you, and not conform and not fit in, but to stand out to make the true difference. You can't make a difference fitting in. You can only make a difference standing out. So
true. So one of the things that I've experienced in the past when I've spoken about this, and they said, yeah, I get the logic of it, but what about the practicalities? I can't just drop everything that I want to do all of a sudden and just live to my highest values. I've got to pay for food. I've got to put a roof over my head. It's not just going to happen in an instant. So if people are sitting there right now and they're thinking, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense, but what about the practicality of it? What's your advice to people on that front?
Well, if you sit down every single day and write down what are the highest priority actions you can do today that makes the greatest difference in the world, that earns the greatest amount of service earning income, and you go and actually prioritize it based on what inspires you and what serves others, you actually have the capacity to make more money than you've ever made in your life. And delegation doesn't cost if it's delegated to people that are actually committed, that are inspired in their highest values to do what you want to delegate. So many people struggle with delegation because they give it to somebody that's not really designed to do it to save money, instead of give it to somebody who would absolutely love to do it, so you never have to micromanage them and let it go. In the process of doing it, you're free to get on with doing the highest priority thing that raises your self-worth, that actually makes a difference, that actually goes and makes more income. So if you made a list of everything you do in a day and you wrote down next to it, how much does it produce per hour, and how much meaning does it have, and how much would it cost to delegate it, and how much time is spent, I am absolutely certain, after doing it thousands of times, most people are majoring in minors and minoring in majors. And they're basically not doing what's really important, and they're they're robbing themselves of economic growth. So it can start the first day. You may not have all the people in place through delegation. That may take days or weeks or even months. But it's the pursuit of that direction that changes your life.
And in terms of identifying values, so people, again, typically when they're thinking of values, well, I would have said my highest values is honesty, but those types of values, honesty, integrity, etc., aren't generally the types of values that we're referring to here as well, right?
Those are what they call social ideologies and idealisms. When you're living congruent your highest value, you have integrity. So it's not that you're pursuing integrity, you're pursuing what's truly valuable. If your highest value is raising a beautiful family of children, and you're a mother and you're 31 years old and you've got 2 children and your dream is to raise a beautiful family of children, your highest value is raising and mothering children. If your highest value is an entrepreneur and running businesses, then that's your highest value. If it's social causes and political movements or something, then that's your highest value. But it's being integral to who you are. That's what integrity is. And when you're integral, you have the most resilience, adaptability, and power. You also have the most momentum building opportunities in your life. So it's not about some social idealism that you just pick out of the air. It's what your life demonstrates. Your life demonstrates your values. My life demonstrates that every single day I research, I write, I travel, I teach. When I leave here on Sunday, I'll be flying to Amsterdam and then over to Riga, over there in Latvia. And then from there, I come to you. And then from there, I go on to Trinidad. And from Trinidad, I go to Melbourne. And from Melbourne, I come back to Africa. So I'm on the constant go, doing what I love doing, which is researching, writing, traveling, and teaching. That's why there's energy. That's why there's potential to growth. Not because of just picking some artificial value out of the sky. It's like looking at what you really love doing and what's truly important to you. Finding that is what I do the value determination process for, which I'm going to share when I get there. I'm going to show exactly how to do it. We're going to actually do it together, and they're going to get a sense for what it's like to actually determine what that is so they can access that. They don't have to be motivated after that when they get that. I don't need motivation to do what I love doing, and I delegate the rest away.
I love it. So I'm just going to, there's a couple of comments here, so I just want to make sure I've not missed any questions. So Charlotte says hi. Got the values factor and they love it. Love your energy. The secret completely changed my life for the better. That's why I hate housework. So yeah, I'm guessing housework is low on your values then, Karen. And then Carol just said, I get confused with what my highest values are. I can't wait for the weekend of learning. So fantastic. So yeah, we've not missed any questions. So if you have got a question quickly and you want to answer, I can't promise we're going to be able to answer all of them, but if you have got a question, then it'll be great to see that, let's see if we can get it answered. So in terms of the value process and identifying, so this is something obviously we're going to be covering at the weekend, just one of the 4 things that we're going to be speaking about. So we're speaking about, or you're going to be speaking about, how to identify and live by your values, how to identify your purpose and live on purpose as well. So what's some of the benefits that people will get from being at the event by identifying their purpose and then being able to live on purpose? What's some of the benefits to that, Dr. Demartini?
Well, like I say, if you want to live a life where you're requiring outside motivation to get you to do things, let me give you a metaphor here. I bet everybody who's on this listening right now can imagine a 12, 14, 10-year-old boy who loves video games. And picture him wanting to sit in front of that video game and play that little video game. Okay? Do you have to ever motivate him to do his video game? Hell no. He's absolutely will do that in the morning when he gets up. He'll be doing that to go to bed. You'll have to push him to bed, and you have to get him away from that to go shower and to go do other things because he loves his video games. When you're inspired by something that's high in your values, you don't need to be reminded. You don't need to be motivated. You don't need to be incentivized. If you require those things, those are symptoms, not solutions. So if you want to live a life where you require outside motivation, you rise and you fall and you keep having to get motivation all the time, there's never going to be momentum building. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how to access the highest values so you can start prioritizing your life, so you can structure things so you have a calling from within, an inspiration from within, not needing motivation without. That is a huge difference in life. When you're living according to your life, that's what a leader comes from. They don't go by outside. Imagine an outside leader or a great leader needing, oh, by the way, it's time to get up. You got to do what you are supposed to do. If you hear yourselves living by got tos, have to, must, supposed to, ought to, shoulds, need tos, want tos, and things. You're living by other people's duties and responsibilities. You're not living because you love what you're doing and you're inspired by it. That's what I want people to have. I want them to know that there's a science on how to waken that up in people. And if they follow it, they'll get that opportunity. And then there's a different energy there. When people meet people, they're inspired by what they do. There's a magnetism. There's other people are drawn to them because they're exemplifying what's possible to human beings. So if you want to be exemplar, if you want to have more energy, you want to have more expanded vision, if you want your executive center to run and not your amygdala where you're avoiding pain and seeking pleasure and searching for that which is unobtainable and trying to avoid that which is unavoidable, then come. That's all I can say. Because I'm going to give you some insights. I've been working on this for 46 years, and I've been studying values for about 40 of those years. So I'm absolutely certain the material is solid. And I've taken thousands of people through it, so I know we can do it. I mean, I work with people of all different walks, from people in politics to people in business to people in celebrities. It doesn't matter. The people who want to get a competitive advantage are going to be the people who are living congruently.
I love it. So a couple of questions that I'll just ask. If we've got, what questions have we got? Does your purpose change if your values change?
Yes, the hierarchy of your values dictating your destiny. When you're 0 to 10, you may want to play. When you're 10 to 20, you may want to socialize. When you're 20 to 30, you may want to find a mate and a career. And when you're the next one, you may want to develop your own home and your own business and your own family. So there's a slight tweaking of your values, and being current with them is the key. Now, some of those values may be consistent and some may variable, but whatever they are, keeping current with them, I recommend every quarter to update and find out what they are, and then consistently keep focused and priorities accordingly. But I assure you, once you master the art of priorities, I learned from Mary Kay Cosmetics about 30-something years ago. I was speaking for about 4,500 women at the Anatole in Dallas, and I went up to interview her afterwards and asked her some questions. And I said, what advice could you give a young aspiring speaker traveling the world? And she says, every single day, write down the highest priority actions you can do that day that can help you fulfill your most inspiring mission and vision. And every day do that on little index cards. And I did that, and I wrote them down, and I kept it every single day. At the end of a period, I looked at what was common to all of the things that I'd written. And I narrowed it down to research, write, travel, teach. And then I made a commitment to delegate everything else off my plate so I could do an inspired life, doing what I love instead of doing what everybody else expects me to do, and not the things that I'm inspired to do.
I love it. Gary, you're struggling to identify your purpose. Can you help? Yes, he certainly can help by coming along to the event. If you can be at the event in London, make sure you're there. We're going to be going through it in detail. Are your highest values and end goal the same thing? From Suki.
Okay. Just because you have your highest values doesn't mean you're aware of what they are, doesn't mean that you're congruent with it. A whole lot of people have a fantasy. I want to be financially independent, but they don't have the values that will do it. Imagine this. If you have the highest value on shopping and buying clothes and going on trips, and number 10 on the list is saving money and building and serving people and making money and saving it and investing it, then what happens the second you get money, it's going to be spent on these other things first, and you'll never get around to ever saving money. So if you set a goal that's not aligned and congruent with your values, you'll self-defeat. And the self-defeat is a feedback to let you know you're not being authentic. So I'm going to explain how that works and show it and let you go through your own experiences of that. So you'll know what that's like. So you know the distinction. Because if you're not setting goals that are really congruent, they're not goals. They're usually fantasies. Because a fantasy is setting a goal that's not congruent with what you value most.
Aggie, the question you've asked in regards to a new value and installing it into your hierarchy, that's something we'll be talking about at the event. I know that's going to be covered over the event, so I'm just focused. Simon said this is pure gold. Can't wait for the event. Looking forward to having you there, Simon. And this is so Taruna, how do you work out your values? Again, it's something we're going to be covering at the event via the values determination process. There's a few more questions, guys, but we're running short on time. So what I really wanted to do, I know that in a couple of weeks, well, literally not next weekend, not this weekend coming, weekend after, there is going to be a life-changing event for people taking place in London. Thanks to Dr. Demartini coming over. He's going to be speaking both days on 4 separate topics. So he's going to be speaking on values, which we've just skimmed on. just skimmed on this evening. He's going to be speaking on purpose. He's going to be speaking on wealth. He's also going to be speaking on manifestation. So if you're familiar with Dr. Demartini from The Secret and the Law of Attraction, he's going to be doing a keynote and speaking on the manifestation as well. So we're really looking forward to being able to have you. So what I want to do, we're getting close to the event. Now, the deadline for the event, we have got a discount that ends on Friday. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the link in the comments here so you have access to it. And what I'm just going to do, I just want to share something with you, and I'm hoping this is going to work. Let's see. Fingers crossed it does. Hopefully this is going to work. So we've got we've got the event, personal development event of the year, that's going to be taking place on the 1st and 2nd of December at Park Plaza Riverbank, a hotel just in the south side of the river by Embankment. And like I say, it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. As well as having Dr. Demartini, we've got a number of other speakers. We've got Jack Robbins also flying over. Well, he's flying over from the States. Dr. Demartini is going to be in Europe, but he's also flying over. We've got Jarek is going to be speaking on peak performance. We've got Michelle Zelli, who's going to be speaking on boundaries. We've got Stephen Doran, who's going to be speaking about neuro-linguistic programming. We've got Nikki V speaking about the benefits of coaching. We've got Simone speaking on business. We've got Jermaine, who's our host, who is phenomenal. He's full of energy. He has transformed his life over the last few years, and he's in a phenomenal place. He's going to be hosting. There's also myself. I'm going to be speaking on the ripple effect and how the ripple effect is something that can benefit you, your family, your friends, your community, society, humanity. I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. I've never shared it from stage before, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. So it's going to be a great weekend. We've also got 2 other speakers. Andy Ramage, who we just announced yesterday, he's going to be speaking on habits and creating behaviors that last. And also we have another speaker which we're going to be announcing tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to let you know about. So you can join the event. There are 4 ticket tiers, but what we're doing tonight, if you sign up on the back of this webinar tonight via the link that I just posted, we're doing a double upgrade. So we're doing a double upgrade. So if you're on this webinar tonight and you've already bought a ticket, you've now just got an upgrade. You've just got an upgrade. So you had an upgrade before because of the early bird. Now you've got an extra upgrade from being here on the webinar. But if you sign up tonight, you'll benefit from the double webinar. That's going to expire this evening in literally 3 hours time. So you've got 3 hours. I recommend that you do it now. Take advantage of it. You've just had less than half an hour with Dr. Demartini, and I'm sure already he's absolutely blowing your mind. He's one of my indirect mentors. I've been learning from him from these types of books for years now. Absolutely love the work he does, and I'm really looking forward to bringing him to London for not only for me to be able to learn from him, but for you to be able to learn from him too, and literally identify ways by living by your values, finding your purpose, identifying how you can create wealth to enable you to have that financial freedom and to be able to use the benefits of manifestation to live your life and really achieve what it is that you're capable of. So please take advantage of the opportunity this evening via taking advantage by getting on the link, and you'll be able to take advantage of that offer. So Dr. Demartini, once again, I really want to thank you for your time this evening. It's been a pleasure to have you. I'm extremely grateful. I know it's a bit later over there in South Africa right now, so thank you for taking the time to come on and jump online with us.
No, thank you. I'm just looking forward to the event, and it's just a little over a week away, and whoever's out there listening, I can't wait to meet you. Please come up to me. I look forward to meeting you, and I know we're going to have an amazing event. The lineup is amazing, and I know what I have to do is going to be inspiring. So we're going to have a powerful weekend.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. And we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm extremely grateful for you coming online. And again, take advantage via the link in the comments. When we close the webinar, it'll also redirect you to the page. You can take advantage of that this evening and get your double upgrade. So look forward to seeing you very, very soon in London. Once again, Dr. Demartini, thank you for tonight, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the night.
Take care.